afternoon, everyone. This is Jared RAND, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Friday, September 20, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have an interesting presentation on PAO this Sunday. You need to know how to sign up for that. We help PAO when we can. And it's PAOweb.com. I'm going to be talking about some things on there, and then I'm going to carry it over on Wednesday call that a lot of people don't know in this country alone, that we've got to present as an edification. Interestingly enough, we are the pure consciousness, the God that we are within this body is pure enlightenment. Pure enlightenment. But we don't, again, because of our programming, we don't know that. Enlightenment is the moment when the wave realizes that it is the water. And because we've been educated, so to speak, through generations to believe that you're separate, we're separate. So it's difficult to confirm that we're not separate. It's a pretty interesting dilemma. It's like when you've been, when you become educated, programmed, whatever you want to call it, during the course of this life, let's just say this life, there's different lines of code, so to speak, that we assimilate. Through our cerebral cortex, we see or we hear, or we touch or we feel. And the brain puts in engrams, which are memory pathways. Now, it's not like we know that. And so we call this the subconscious mind. It's basically our recorder. It's a database of information that plays randomly over and over again and continually records everything in this life and all lifetimes. Most of us only have access right now to this lifetime. And every smidgen, every quantum particle is recorded by this database. It's recorded and it's put into this database, so to speak. And then that information is then played out over and over again at different times, different sequences. And on top of that, we have the mind chatter, which is billions and billions of thoughts out there. Each of us get hit every day with roughly 60,000 plus of these thoughts. And since we believe that we are separate, which is an illusion, we don't realize that those thoughts are not ours. We also don't realize that we are actually being saturated with over 60,000 thoughts every day. So that's quite interesting. Now imagine when you're not aware of that and you're heavily immersed into the ego mind and the material physical world, which most on this planet are and have been for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. Now you kind of, as an observer, you kind of lay all that out and you say, okay, with your childlike curiosity, because we all have that. That doesn't go away. Most of us bury it because we're taught that, you know, childlike. I'm not childlike. And that's the ego mind coming in. I'm an adult now, and I have to take life seriously. This is what we're taught, really. And it's not those who teach us this, because that's what they were taught. So it's not about getting upset about the people that programmed us, because they were programmed the same way. So it's just like it's a procession of continuation of repetitiveness. Now, when we begin by choice of certain things that are catalysts for us, some people say, well, I remember when I woke up. You ever done that with yourself, or have you ever heard other people say that? You remember when you woke up? And people will say, yeah, I do. I was doing this and I was in this. They could be with a major corporation, just like a good little drone, doing everything, following their daily work and their personal lives and all that. But then something comes in. It could be after 30 years of being on a job or doing something. And it's like a light comes on. And everything changes. And the childlike curiosity comes front and center. And you become very curious about things. And things that you viewed, looked at, or experienced are different now. And you become more curious. So you go in search of information that speaks to you. You know what I mean? Not literally, hey, get over here. But it draws, your frequency is drawn to certain things. And a lot of the times the people that are asleep are drawn to certain things, but they don't know why. And they aren't able to assimilate what that means and what that message is to them. So it kind of goes by the wayside. There are others of us who become aware, like I said, it could be any kind of catalyst that happens with us. And so to speak, we wake up. We become conscious. Now, that's interesting because about 3,500 years ago, this civilization became conscious. And a lot of people go, well, that's kind of strange. What do you mean that? We were not aware about a lot of things then. We weren't conscious beings, I'll put it that way. This is why bicameralism was so prevalent and still is today on the planet. Those that are asleep are not aware that they're conscious. Those that are aware are conscious. See, everybody is conscious. But the ones that we say we call them asleep, they're conscious, but yet they still haven't identified with that. So they're bicameral. Which means they can't make really fluid decisions. They need to be guided and told. They need to be directed. And they needed to have something that's authoritative over them without pushing them, so to speak. And this is why it's so difficult to talk with loved ones and friends, and you're aware and they're not. And they're the God in the body as you are. But they're just not aware, and no matter what you do, it's like, okay. They'll get it maybe the next lifetime. So when you wake up and you become aware and you're conscious, you don't fold into things anymore. It's not like you fight them. It's just that you ever had something that tastes really good, right? And then you look at something else and it looks good, but then when you taste it, you go, wow, I'm not going to have another bite of that. Kind of like that. So when you become aware and you become consciously aware, you're questioning things, not from judgment or anything, but you're just curious. And you're looking at stuff like you did before, but before you were aware, you saw things totally different. Everything just blended, and You just kind of went along with it. You would say to yourself, well, that's life. That's the way life is. Those types of statements. Not knowing that you were a omnipotently powerful being, supreme being, that never dies, that is within that body, so to speak. So what you do is you start going out and you start fact-finding for yourself. And you start to discover that you find that by going within, as we call it, going within, which is focusing on the now moment, and you start to understand that, hey, my ego mind is there for me to master it. And it's a good thing. And I'm aware of that. And we do, even though you're aware, because we're so habitualized in a certain programming, it is difficult to not be in the ego mind. I know that sounds strange to people, but it is difficult because we're so used to having the ego mind our master. But when you become aware and conscious, you start to realize that the ego mind is not me. The God that I am, the pure consciousness, is what I really am. And so I'm going to leave the ego mind alone, and I'm going to observe it so I can learn from it. And it's a great teacher. And isn't it ironic? It will teach you how to master it without even knowing it. And so when you begin to realize that when you slip into ego mind, you'll know it. See, a lot of people, that's just totally not there. They don't know that. They just, like I said, they live their lives in that fog. But you will start identifying the ego mind. You say, okay, so, and then when you slip into the ego mind, you'll know it. And you'll say to yourself, I'm not interested in this anymore. That's all. And that the ego mind is very, very tenacious. It's very, very powerful. So then you'll say, okay, I'm going to go into the now and focus on the moment. And you'll do that, and then you'll go back in the ego mind. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. But as you begin to do that, you start to comprehend the fact that this is what mastering is about with the ego mind. It gives you things or thoughts or feelings, and when you're aware that they're not coming from your heart mind, they're coming from your ego mind, then you say, I don't care to engage in that. I'm not going to take the cloud out of the sky, embrace it, give it power, bring it into reality and experience it. I'm not going to do that. I don't care to. And you get this really uplifting feeling, and then you go back in the ego mind. And at times you'll say, ego mind, you're not in charge here. I love you, but you're not in charge here. I'm going to show you a direction so that you can finally be at peace. That's what this is all about with the ego mind. Because it's always searching for peace. And it never finds it. So as time goes by, you become more astute, more clear and precise. You can you're not judging, you're identifying how the ego mind operates. Because you experience it all the time. You got that tug of war, we all do. We have that tug of war, we're pulled into the ego mind, then we're pulled out of the ego mind. But we make a choice to say, I've decided to practice staying in the now. Even though the ego mind will pull us out, and then we'll leave it, and it'll pull us back in. We'll leave it, we'll pull us back in. But as time goes by, it gets less and less. And this begins to bring you into more of an enlightenment and comprehending that you are an enlightened being, that you're not the body. See, this is all connected. by deciding you're going to master the ego mind through the heart mind, not the ego mind. See, it's a big difference. You're going to master your ego mind through your heart mind. And the heart mind is much more powerful than the ego mind. Now, many on this planet believe that if you're benevolent, okay, benevolent means that you're not caustic, you're not interested in conflict and destruction and harming others and all of those things. You're in a peaceful state. You're benevolent. They believe that that's weak, see, that that's soft and it's not powerful. And that's what we've been taught. You know, a benevolent being is not a powerful being. So we've been taught that what kind of being is powerful? Aggressive being. Motion and activated being. That's powerful. You've heard the term so many times throughout our past, the meek shall inherit the earth. And people identify the word meek as weak, powerless, unable to convey, interject, and just basically like do whatever you're told to do. And that was kind of twisting things for the civilization. Benevolence is the most powerful state because you are aware that you are an enlightened being. So therefore, you move your frequency much higher than what? Conflict and anger and hate and manipulation. And a lot of this we put on ourselves first. This is why I always say, be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. At all times. No matter how much you want to punch yourself. Because a lot of people right now in this very moment on this planet are punching themselves. Isn't that crazy? Because they don't know, they don't really realize they can't screw their lives up, but they believe they've screwed their lives up. Okay? And then these are all ego mind emotions. Guilt, depression, worry, stress, fear, all ego mind. Lock, stock, and barrel. But this is a journey for us, and we've been journeying for eternity. It's what we do. Journey and experience. Most of the times, where all the possibilities are for us in this life is the unknown. Now, most of us will look at the unknown and say, I'm not going there. Are you crazy? You have no idea what's there. And you're still going to go there? And then that being will say, yes, this is where all the possibilities are for us. No, I'm going to stay right here in my comfort little circle. Because I know everything here, and there's no unknowns. Good luck to that for you. But there are some of us will say, I'm going to go into the unknown because that's truly where all the possibilities are. And the only reason we won't go into the unknown is because of fear. And fear is ego mind. Well, okay, so say someone is in heart mind. Then they are open-hearted. They'll walk right into the unknown without fear. You've probably met people like that, where they seem just like, and it's not a put-on, they just seem fearless. You feel it from them. They don't have that fear. And then someone else will argue and say, well, fear is a good thing. Well, in the beginning, fear teaches us things, sure. But there comes a point like anything where, we've had dozens of rodeos, right? So we know what fear is. We've learned that. We've experienced it many times in our lives. But then we realize that there's so much more to experience. And the vibrational frequencies continue to go up. But the crucial part of the forward progression and expansion of this civilization is being aware that they're a God in the body. That's it right there. Through the heart-mind. The heart-mind is the key to the door that you will open and embrace the God that you are. That's what it is. This is all interlinked and connected. Yes, it isn't a piece of cake for most of us, because, you know, when you're habitualized, when you operate a certain way because you're trained and programmed a certain way. Okay? It's like saying, okay, you're a bus driver. I want you to get into that Learjet and fly it right now. Well, obviously that wouldn't happen. But it's pretty much like that. So it's like saying to somebody, well, you've been programmed your whole life this way, and you've absorbed this, and you know, you have your personality and character with that body, and so you think certain ways and you decide certain things. Now I want you to go over here and dump all that out. Dump all that out and go over here. Now we all know we're creatures of habit, right? We get into habits. Some of the habits are really wonderful and great, but others are crappy. Even though that we know we're in a habit, we get comfortable with the habit and we stay with the habit. Someone might say to you, say, hey, you ever thought about not smoking? Oh, heck no, it relaxes me. And what's ironic about that, say, but that's what that being believes, that, you know, I smoke, I relax. It just, you know, boy, I tell you, after working really hard, I can just sit back and have a smoke. In reality, the smoking, it constricts the blood vessels in the body, intensifies the body. It does the opposite of what we believe. That's just one analogy. So some of us, though, will begin to realize we have a very short time in these bodies. Now, we've been taught that 90 or 100 is a long life, and that's a complete falsity. But you believe that, right? Because as a baby, what are you going to do? You're an open book. You're a sponge. You're a big vessel waiting to be filled. So it depends on those who you're around, and as that body matures, you're constantly absorbing things. Constantly. Programming. Bits and codes that are coming in. Some of it you'll utilize, other of it you'll just toss aside. And it forms you. Forms your character, forms your personality, your perspectives, your viewpoints. It's like if you went up to somebody who had been trained, programmed in a religion, right? And you're having a conversation with him. When you say to him, you're aware that religion is man-made. Now, depending on how open-hearted they are, they'll have two responses with you. They'll say, no, that's not true. They'll say, all religion is God. Or Allah, whatever their faith is. And we've all been taught that. And this is why we have over 50,000 and growing religions on the planet. But see, when it all comes down to the final truth, you are the light. You are the God. You are the kingdom of God. You are the heaven. Period. Remember the drop of the golden ocean. The drop. Right? We're all drops. We all hold the essence of that ocean. Now, when we drop into the ocean, we become the ocean. Now, if you deem your ego mind to comprehend that, it's in no way, shape, form will it be able to do that. You can through the heart mind to comprehend what that means. And you ask yourself, what does that mean to me? So, I am everything and nothing, and everything is me and nothing. Can you imagine, as this civilization evolves into the spiritual base of comprehension, how things are going to miraculously shift? We've been taught to believe in saviors, right? Nothing wrong with that. Throughout the ages, there's always been saviors. And what really are saviors? Those are beings that we give all of our trust, faith, and attention to save us. Isn't that interesting? And this is how we've been programmed throughout the generations. Yet, in true reality, we are the saviors of ourselves. You see how everything's been put outside of us? Yeah, you see that? It's not difficult, if you're aware, to see how everything has been put outside of us to program us into believing that our answers are outside of us, that the truths are outside of us. And if you want to find something else out, you've got to go out there to either discover or find it, whatever. You will find the answers to your questions out there. And then when we pray, what do? We pray to something out there. So it's not a surprise on this spiritual journey that we discover things that we start realizing from observation that's not any of it is real. It isn't truthful. Because you begin to discover that all your answers that you've ever sought in this life, any questions that you have that haven't been answered so far in your life, are within you. Doesn't it make sense that since you're pure consciousness in that body, and you have a very short time to figure things out, which the majority, about 99.999%, never do. They leave the body, and we're caught in this catch-22, this soul trap, where we reincarnate, come back in a life without any previous knowledge of any past lives. And since we did not discover who and what we are in the body, we don't know really what we are outside the body. So a light shows up. A light. This is what happens. A light shows up. Now, it's not like, a flashlight or something. It's just this big, huge space of light coming at you. Now remember, you're pure consciousness. You're not physical material anymore. You're pure consciousness. or the God, however you feel comfortable in what you want to label yourself or call yourself. And so we're compelled, because of our amnesia, to go into the light. And we do. And the process starts all over again. But what happens when you have a lot longer time period in the body and you discover that you are the light? Big difference. Huge. As a God, all of us are wild and free. Eternally. We can go anywhere, do anything we choose, no matter where it is. 10 trillion light years away, we could be there in a blink of the eye. We can visit other planets and other spatial anomalies anywhere, anytime, any place, at will. This is our true power. This is what we really are. So one might say, well, then why in the heck would we come to this planet, inhabit a physical material body to experience? That's why. Yeah, but look at it down there. You got people killing each other. You got bombs going off. You got people hating themselves, hating each other. Why would I want to do that? To experience. And everything that you observe going on that planet has been created by the very beings that are inhabiting those bodies without awareness. We create these things. Everything on this planet was created by us. Literally. Now, because of how we've been programmed from day one, lifetime after lifetime, we don't know that. Nor do we believe it. And most of us are in the ego mind. So this is an incessant thing where it is just basically repetition without previous knowledge of past experiences. Isn't that wild? And the only reason any of us ever, throughout the ages, suffering in this life is because of one little thing. One little thing. Ignorance. That's it. Ignorance is our burden. Now, if you take the word ignore, right, add a little dance to it, you get ignorance. When we ignore the truth of our infinite being, our ignorance expands and soon transfers us onto the path of suffering. Now, if you don't know about something, right, you're totally ignorant to it. So, let's say one is explaining something to you, and you look at them as an authority, right? Credible authority. And they're telling you what to do because you're ignorant about anything they're telling you what to do. So you do it. And this explains a lot to us on this planet in this very now moment why certain things are happening is because we're ignorant about so many things. We are not knowledgeable. Now this civilization, let's say it was across the board a very knowledgeable civilization. True heart-mindedness, okay? There would not be conflict. Weird things. You see these things happening, you go, holy cow. And then you seek knowledge. We gain a lot of knowledge through experience. You know, it's interesting. You could go out and read volumes of books, right? All varieties. Spend years and years on them. And you would believe that you were super knowledgeable and powerful because of that information. Then you come across and meet someone who has experienced it all. Big difference. Remember, everything that is written is from a perspective or viewpoint of one of us. It's their perspective, their feelings, their viewpoints, their imagination, not yours. Remember that on anything you read. Experiencing things in this life. It's like someone could go out and they could read books on woodworking, okay? And woodwork, all plants, and so they say, now I'm going to go and I'm going to woodwork. They'd probably be able to do it, okay, roughly. But then they meet a master carpenter, 30, 40 years woodworking. So the master carpenter, through experience, has learned a lot of avenues that's not in the book. That's knowledge. That's through experience. The book is the knowledge without the experience. Okay? The true knowledge is through experience. It's just as simple as saying, you put your hand on a hot stove, you're going to burn your hand. That's experience. Okay? So you know immediately after that, you're not going to put your hand on any hot surface. We're in the process of transcending our ignorance on this planet and to find spiritual freedom in our lives again. And the intention for a deeper awareness is most definitely needed. The intention for a deeper awareness, most definitely needed. We must choose to welcome the most profound state of consciousness we can imagine by simply opening up to our own consciousness. We can release anything, instantly that would make us suffer. Nothing more than pure awareness is needed to transcend this illusion and rediscover the liberating truth of who we really are. Omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die. And each moment of our lives has the potentiality to become the most liberating, healing, enlightening experience we can handle. The more open, ready, and willing we are to receive something magnificent, magna-glorious, the easier and faster the magic comes flooding in. You don't have to look for it, okay? Many throughout the ages have gone out and tried to look for it, find it, right? It will find you. And haven't you ever experienced this? The harder you work for it, the further it moves away from you. Have you ever done that in this life? You ever work really, you're really banging, doing, and it seems like something keeps pulling it away from you. I know we have, whether it was little, medium, or heavy duty. You sit there and say, geez, oh, Pete, I'm doing this, and this, and nothing seems to be working. So what do? You make it a priority to totally relax and enjoy your life. Fully surrender to your real self, the God that you are in that body, the pure consciousness that you are, the omnipotently supreme, powerful being that never dies. And explore who you truly are, what you really want, and what your purpose on this earth actually is on a spiritual level. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath rising and falling. The greatest game is your life. Life is a game. And you're already dressed up as one of the ultimate players in it. Now, when you start believing in this masquerade, thinking just as a separate somebody who's lacking love, money, and connection, then your game of life becomes overly serious and you stop having fun with it. Realize that you are making up the rules as you go. And make a new rule that you can choose to laugh at your problems, frolic in the sunshine, and get to know that divine God source that lives inside you. You can stop all the crazy mind chatter instantly and know yourself as pure, unbounded consciousness. You are a brilliant ball of unlimited creative energy who can invent any approach you want in this game. Choose one that is filled with fun, lightness, and laughter, and you'll love the results in 10 years down the road. Today is your day to discover how to really play again. Best of all, you have a large variety of very interesting players out in this world who are eager to join in the fun with you. We are all excited to see what next move is, what your next move is. And you cannot make a mistake in this magical infinite playground. So step outside your normal boundaries. Make today an amazing day that you'll always remember. And once you decide to pierce through all your mind's illusions of what is right and wrong, you will start playing your best and enjoy this outrageous spiritual adventure to the max. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and following morning. We will return here tonight a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health call and all the rest. And Saturday, September 21, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, and generous, humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening outside of you or within inside of you. Open your heart and let the magic flow in.